CM Punk does not finish the story, but Cody is on his way to doing so. And now the main event, the Men's Royal Rumble match. So we get Jey Uso, who you knew when he come out there doing the whole dance, he was definitely going to get the crowd alive. And the audience through this entire match was definitely much more alive than I had heard of all night. And honestly, even for me, I would say, because Naomi got a big pop, obviously, when she came out, and they were always up for the 10 counts. But even for myself, man, I was on the edge of my seat in this Rumble match. So it was great. So we get Jey and Jimmy Uso starting out. And going back to what I was saying towards the end of that last match in the Fatal 4-Way, it's just crazy to think that Jimmy and Jey, this whole feud started right after SummerSlam, or at SummerSlam 2023. And aside from that time that Jimmy Uso cost Jey the tag titles, him and Cody, this is our first interaction. So there hasn't been really much dynamics built up over the last several months with Jimmy and Jey. This is our first test, but we got to see him go ahead and give us a preview of what I believe will be their WrestleMania match. But some of the other noteworthy highlights in the Men's Royal Rumble match, we got Andrade returning from AEW. So one of the first people to leave WWE, go to AEW, then come back to WWE. So that was an interesting dynamic. And we got some cool spots even with Santos Escobar, which is really awesome because I'm hoping that Andrade will join the LWO and be reunited with Zelina Vega, because Zelina Vega as his valet worked amazing, tremendous. That's what I think put Andrade on the map in terms of the WWE audience. It's unfortunate that Tony Khan and Vince McMahon were not able to book this guy to his full potential. So I'm very much interested to see where he goes on the main roster now under the booking guidance of Triple H. And he also got a good showing, like 40 plus minutes. So that was really cool to see. And then one of the things that also worked more about this Men's Royal Rumble is that there were a lot more stories being told. When a big star came out and they would start laying out everyone or even dominating by throwing people out left and right, that was missing, I felt, in a lot of the Women's Royal Rumble. Like when you would have Becky or Bianca, all these big time stars coming out in terms of the women's division, they really didn't do much. They knocked down a few people, but they kind of were more so just fighting a lot in the corner and not doing much eliminations. And so you didn't have that issue a lot. This Men's Royal Rumble was pretty much like TNA, total non-stop action from beginning to end. I will say this in terms of Kofi Kingston, we did not get a Kofi Kingston spot like a Houdini, huge escape spot from elimination. Literally, he just got kicked out and that was it. And I'm very curious. I wonder what's going on behind the scenes with that one. Was this a case of Kofi Kingston feeling like, because of the last 2 to 3 years, he botched his big comeback spot and got eliminated? And so maybe he doesn't want to risk it anymore because he's getting older? Or was this a case of Triple H saying, listen, you botched those last few ones, we're not going to have you do it this year? So, I mean, like, wow, Kofi, has never won a Royal Rumble, but you always expect him to leave some sort of memorable moment, and we didn't get that. So I thought that was crazy, and I'm sorry, this was a waste. Pat McAfee. All right, listen, I love Pat McAfee, and it was great to have him on commentary. But to me, and when his music hit, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, we're going to get Pat McAfee. And I was concerned. I'm like, man, he's been sitting there for almost 3 hours. Did he get a good stretch in and stuff? So he gets in because they got Omos out here. And when they bring out Omos, that means there's a big giant powerhouse star that's probably going to end up eliminating him. But he gets in there and he's scared of Omos and he keeps coming back in and out of the ring and then eventually decides to go ahead and eliminate himself. I'm like, yeah, that was a waste of a spot, honestly. Like, if you're going to put Pat McAfee in the Royal Rumble, then let him do some moves. We've seen Pat McAfee. We know he can go. He's gone with Austin Theory, Baron Corbin. He can hold his own with some of WWE's best athletic and toughest superstars in terms of the way the story has been presented. So I'm like, why are we getting him in the ring and he's not even going to throw one punch? So I thought that was a waste. At least have somebody get in there and do something. Like, man, like that was a complete waste. Like, I mean, even last year, it was 5 seconds, but at least you had Chelsea Green run in there and attempt to do something, got thrown out. Here, he just eliminated himself. Didn't even interact with anybody in terms of from a physicality standpoint. So, yeah, I thought that one was weird. But we got another noteworthy performance from the almighty Bobby Lashley. The audience was hot for him. He was laying out everybody. And this is one of my pet peeves about the Royal Rumble. So Bobby Lashley, he eliminates Cross. And I thought they were going to give Cross a lot more time because they're trying to establish him as the leader of the Final Testament. But he ends up getting eliminated by Cross after Bobby eliminated him. I don't understand. Does it make sense? Am I the only wrestling fan out there that thinks it does not make sense for a current star that's participating in the Rumble to be eliminated by someone that was already eliminated or someone who's not even a part of the match? That should be an illegal elimination. I feel like you should only be eliminated when it's from someone who is active in the Royal Rumble match. So I didn't understand that. Never will understand that. But something else, though, we did get the Final Testament and the Pride with the Street Profits obviously all fighting. So we got that outside at least. But of course, we did get some comedy with R-Truth, who I believe now became the first man to compete in the women and men's Royal Rumble matches. First person or first male to do that in WWE history. So I thought that was fun. We got some great comedy spots of R-Truth getting on the corner of the ring and grabbing the ring rope and asking for the hot tag. And we got a hot tag in the Royal Rumble match. So R-Truth always bringing up the great comedy. And Dominic Mysterio, you know, he was just a heat magnet through the whole thing. And I knew they were going to save him in there for something big. And then, of course, when we get Damian Priest come out, he just comes out and boom, dicks R-Truth, knocks him out and throws him out of the ring. Oh, man, you know, cue the famous Friday line. You got knocked the out. Oh my gosh, man. That was good stuff. Dominic Mysterio was he was still getting the heat, but Damian Priest, man, he came about the business, all about the business. So that was good. That was good to see. When Gunther came out, man, he was chopping everybody like boom, 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 just knocking out everyone. And I love that because you're keeping consistent with how big of a Royal Rumble competitor Gunther was last year. Because look at that. He came in dominating, and there should be no reason why he's not dominating this year. So that was great to see. Now, I pop for this one. Bron freaking Breakker. Bron Breakker making his long-awaited debut on the main roster, and the man came in explosive, just hitting everybody with clotheslines and spears, and there was even eventually, he tossed Omos out of the ring, which is why I knew they put Omos in this Rumble to set up for Bron Breakker. But then you look at him and Gunther went at it, and I'm like, oh boy, as a fan, I'm just getting into the moment going like, you ain't gonna be chopping Bron Breakker down. And he went for that big chop on Bron's chest, and Bron ate it like a champ, and eventually he lays Gunther out with a spear. So they made Bron Breakker look like the real freaking deal here. A tremendous way to introduce Bron to the mainstream WWE audience. So I thought that was absolutely fantastic in this Rumble match. And while Bron Breakker definitely had a great performance in this Rumble, he ended up getting eliminated by Dominic Mysterio. Oh, man, and that got a lot of heat from the crowd. But eventually, JD McDonough came out afterwards and got speared by Bron Breakker. So, like I said, it was a good showing. And, of course, you got the big moments when Cody Rhodes came out at number 15 and CM Punk came out at around 27, which I think had got one of the most wins in Royal Rumble history. No, I guess I got changed with the number 1 or number 30 spots now. But 27, has been very kind in history to the Royal Rumble winners of the past. So it was great to see that. Audience was really into Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. And one of the things that I did enjoy about this Royal Rumble is that, like I said, when the big stars came out, they cleaned house, wiping everybody from the mat, even throwing people out left and right. I felt that these were the moments that were truly missing in the women's Royal Rumble match. We get to some more noteworthy returns as well, like Ricochet. Glad to see him back after I think he had a concussion scare. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, because I don't think I remember seeing him since like November. And then we got the return of Sami Zayn at number 30. An audience was really way into him, singing his song even throughout the match. They changed the format to like the final six. You know, usually they do the big standoff on the final four, but here they did it with the final six. So we got Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, Sami Zayn, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, and Gunther all going at it. So from here, Sami Zayn, he eliminates Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre immediately eliminates Sami Zayn. It comes down to the final four from there: Gunther, Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, and CM Punk. And a fun fact here, all four of these men actually have had promo segments with Seth Rollins. So this was really good because it really puts you into the mindset, yeah, these are the four most likely candidates to win the Rumble match based on what we've been seeing in the storyline. So Drew McIntyre, he ends up getting the upper hand on everybody, and he just spends way too much time trash talking CM Punk. And before he could eliminate him, CM Punk turns around and eliminates Drew McIntyre, lands right on his feet. And then from there, Cody Rhodes, he eliminates Gunther again, just like last year. So Cody Rhodes has proven to be the one thorn in Gunther's side that he just seems to not be able to beat in these Royal Rumble matches. And we get to the final two, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. And I definitely would say I thought this took some balls in terms of the booking here, because we've seen over the years in WWE or even the decades where if they've got two people that they don't want to clash, they'll eliminate somebody. Like think about when they eliminated Daniel Bryan early so that he never interacted with Roman Reigns because they don't want to ruin their narrative. I mean, we knew Lex Luger and Brett went at it, you know, kind of see who was the most popular two. So props to Triple H not being afraid. And we got putting these two together. We got a mixed response. Half the crowd for CM Punk, half the crowd for Cody Rhodes. So these were the two most likely winners of the Royal Rumble that it came down to. And it was great to seeing both of them just go back and forth. And, you know, it's just surreal as a fan of both AEW and WWE. I almost wonder, like, how did we get here? Just a little over a couple of years ago, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes were two of the biggest stars in AEW, and here we are. Now they're in WWE in one of the most important main events of the year, competing to see who goes to the main event of WWE's most important shows, and a big milestone show at that one. So it's crazy how much the world of professional wrestling can change over a short period of time. And as we get to the closing moments here, CM Punk eventually is able to hit the pedigree to Cody Rhodes, and he even yells out to the commentators, "Can you believe I did that? Insert S-bomb there." And then he looks at the hard camera and says that he didn't wait 10 years to lose to Dusty's kid. From here, he picks up Cody Rhodes on his shoulders for another GTS, and then he looks up to the WrestleMania 40 sign. And this is where I'm like, I see where they're going with this. I start getting shades of WrestleMania 28 when The Rock was nearly defeated by John Cena, and Cena started getting cocky and doing the whole people's elbow, only to end up getting himself caught into a rock bottom with The Rock picking up the win. And sure enough, CM Punk, when he goes for the GTS, Cody Rhodes lands on his feet, captures CM Punk's leg, and then grabs CM Punk by the neck and tosses CM Punk over the top rope, winning the Royal Rumble, winning his second Royal Rumble in a row, and becoming the first man in 26 years since Stone Cold Steve Austin to win back-to-back Royal Rumble matches. From there, CM Punk is outside the ring devastated. Cody Rhodes points towards the WrestleMania 40 sign, the pyro goes off, and something that I did like, once again, changing some of the production formats that they do for these. It was Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns who were both in their individual skyboxes looking down at the action. So it's good showing that the world champions are both looking to see who their potential WrestleMania opponent's gonna be. And Cody Rhodes, he finds the skybox that Roman Reigns is in, and he starts pointing to him and starts talking trash. And then you have Roman Reigns holds up the Universal WWE Championship and starts talking trash right back to him. And it's very clear here what they're making as the main event for WrestleMania 40. As I think a lot of us figured, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns 2 for WrestleMania 40. That's how the show ends. The men's Royal Rumble match, I think, definitely was the best match of the night. Now, to be honest with you, while I definitely agree with the direction win? I didn't think Cody Rhodes needed to win the Royal Rumble. To me, CM Punk, this could have been his moment to win his first ever Royal Rumble match. Cody Rhodes already won last year's Royal Rumble match, so he didn't need in order to win it when he's already got a Royal Rumble match under his belt, you know. I know Hogan, Shawn Michaels, and Stone Cold, they all won multiple Royal Rumbles, and it definitely made sense for the time. Maybe the 97 one you can argue because they didn't even end up putting Stone Cold in that WrestleMania main event, but nonetheless, I just feel like nowadays, man, there's been no need to have these multiple Royal Rumble winners. You can always give it to somebody new. So yeah, I figured you could have had CM Punk win the Royal Rumble, get the closing shot of Cody Rhodes looking devastated, and then maybe you have 3 Raw guys and 3 SmackDown guys. They have a last chance Elimination Chamber match coming up, and you have Cody Rhodes win that, and now he gets to finish his story against Roman Reigns. So there was still one more way to get to that destination. However, remember, CM Punk's story is he wants to main event WrestleMania, and then in addition to that, look at Cody Rhodes. It shows that Triple H still has faith in Cody Rhodes. Even though it's been a year, they still had enough faith and that they weren't going to detour from their plans. And so Cody Rhodes gets his win 2 times in a row. So props to Cody Rhodes, and I like the build up and the stare down they were doing at the ending of the show. So I do believe CM Punk still will end up going against Seth Rollins in the main event of night 1. And as far as where I see things going for the future, Cody Rhodes and Roman 2 is probably going to be very much the same match it was last year, which I enjoyed. Shoot, look at my ranking all the WrestleMania matches. But that being said, I think this time The Rock will come out when Solo Sikoa and maybe even Jimmy Uso and the Bloodline tries to interfere. The Rock's going to even the odds, and as long as he isn't the one that touched Roman Reigns and it's Cody doing the finishing blow to Roman's without anyone else, it makes sense for Roman Reigns' historic title reign to finally come to a finish there. And I know a lot of people are thinking, hey, what about Roman Reigns and The Rock? And you know, if you listen to The Rock, I've been taking good notes that he's been talking a lot about how he wants to build to this and make it bigger than it's ever could have imagined being. So I kind of figured that, yeah, Roman Reigns and The Rock is probably something that's going to happen a little further down the road. Hence the reason why I said that The Rock is probably going to cost Roman Reigns by defending Cody against the Bloodline attacks so that he can keep it 1-on-1. Thus, that creates a big reason for why Roman Reigns wants The Rock, because The Rock, he took out the Bloodline, the one thing that Roman has been able to rely on in recent times to successfully defend his Universal WWE Championship. So that makes perfect sense for being the beginning of building to a much bigger match between The Rock and Roman, because at the end of the day, let's face it, Rock and Roman don't really need the championship. It writes itself, the head of the table for their family lineage. I'm looking forward to seeing where this ends up going.